Alright, so sitting at number 10, we actually have Sindel. So she's been a part of the franchise for a long time, damn near since the beginning. I've been okay with her moveset. I didn't really play her until 2011 though, for the most part. I did try playing her in Armageddon and some previous ones like that. But I didn't really play her until 2011 when she became a playable character again, and then obviously she skipped X, I believe, and then now she's a DLC character for 11. But so a little bit about her. She's the former queen of Outworld, specifically the Edenia region. So Edenians are a Outworld race. They're kind of like a high society. A lot of characters that aren't human hail from the Edenia race, such as Sindel, Melina technically, Rain technically, and then you have others like Katana, Jade, Tanya, and I believe Scarlet. I'm not entirely sure on Scarlet, but I believe Scarlet. And so she was the queen. Her husband was killed by Shao Kahn, so she ended up marrying Shao Kahn. And then she, I believe, betrays Shao Kahn and is later killed. In the timeline starting at 2011, she ends up getting resurrected by Quan Chi, and is now a revenant, which increases her power, and she becomes evil, essentially. But she is the mother of Katana, and yeah, there's not a whole lot more to say about Sindel. She uses she manipulates her hair and her voice in combat, so you can see a lot of that in her fighting style. Yeah, that's about it for her, so let's move on. Alright, sitting at number 9, I got confused for a second. So sitting at number 9, we actually have Robocop. So Robocop, he's ranked, he's on this list, first off, because I absolutely adored the movies from what I remember. It's been a while since I've watched any of his movies, including the new remakes that they did a while back. But that being said, the movies were always fantastic. I always loved them. So, a little bit of backstory about him. He was a police officer who ended up getting into an explosion, I believe, if I remember correctly. And to save his life, they basically made almost his entire body mechanical, which is why he is called Robocop. Putting him leagues above everyone else in terms of crime fighting, in his universe, of course. But later he discovers a conspiracy against from the people who essentially made him the Robocop, and he has to basically stop them. So yeah. And I think that's about it. Not a whole lot more to say about Robocop. He's one of the few characters in... Actually, this one has a lot of characters that use guns. You have Robocop, you have Rambo, you have Terminator. And I believe you have Aaron Black, wherever the hell he is. Yeah, he's right here. You have Aaron Black. Which is more than I could say for any other Mortal Kombat. Also, you have Jackie, you have Jax. I think Jax. No, Jax doesn't use guns. You have Cassie. You have Sonya. Yeah, you have a lot of characters in this one that that utilize guns, which is incredible. But yeah, that being said, I think it's time to move on. Alright, sitting at number 8, we have the Sorcerer of Darkness, Shang Tsung. So Shang Tsung actually is one of my favorite characters. His training in deception is incredibly difficult. But basically, he's a immortal sorcerer who ends up siding with Shao Kahn, and basically hosts the Mortal Kombat tournaments. But he has the ability to shapeshift and whatnot. I don't know a whole lot about his backstory, so I think that being said, we're going to move on. Alright, sitting at number 7, we have Nightwolf. So Nightwolf has been one of my favorites for quite some time. He's a Native American who joins the Mortal Kombat tournament for unknown reasons. Well, unknown to me. I presume to save the world, just like Liu Kang and friends. But he utilizes spiritual powers, such as calling upon the ancestors to summon lightning. He can create spirit beasts such as bears, wolves, and I forget the other one. At least there were 3 in 9. I don't really know for 11. I haven't used him since 9. So, but I don't know a whole lot of Nightwolf's backstory, let alone in the current timeline, other than the fact that he ends up sacrificing himself to kill Sindel once again. Yeah, that being said, I think it's time to move on. Alright, sitting at number 6, we have Mileena. So Mileena has been my favorite since Armageddon. Well, one of my favorites since Armageddon. I didn't really use her in 2011, unfortunately, but I started using her pretty heavily in X. So she's pretty cool. So a little bit of backstory for her: she was made in a lab in the flesh pits by Shang Tsung himself. She is mixed with Tarkatan blood, so she is Edenian and Tarkatan, all in one. So she's got the mouth of a Tarkatan, but the looks of an Edenian, as long as she has her mask on. Yeah, not a whole lot to say. Though technically she is related to Katana, but only because they utilize Katana's DNA to make her. So yeah, that being said, it's time to move on. Alright, sitting at number 5, we have Rain. So Rain, I used pretty heavily in Armageddon. Like, he was my top 3. No, top 4 for sure. He was the only speed type other than Fujin that I used heavily in Armageddon. Yeah, a little backstory. He's actually a demigod. He was born to a Edenian and a elder god. um, which gives him the right to be called an Edenian prince. So he's actually the prince of Edenia. He has two brothers, Taven as well as Dagon, which, ironically, Taven and Dagon use fire just like their father, whereas Rain uses water. So that's intriguing. Yeah. That being said, I think it's time to move on. Alright. So sitting at number 4, we have Spawn. So Spawn's been a favorite of mine in comic book history. Mostly because he's got a dark and morbid past, and then he becomes all-powerful, ultimately sacrificing his godhood that he achieved after defeating both God and Satan. But he sacrifices his godhood to save the world. And he's one of a kind, so most Hellspawn, which is what he is, don't use guns, whereas he does. In Mortal Kombat 11, he doesn't, which is a shame. They should have had him utilize that, but they did not. But that being said, I think it's about time to move on. Alright, sitting at number 3, we have the Joker. He's probably one of my favorite DC characters in general. So naturally, he was going to place pretty highly on here. Honestly, there's not a whole lot to say about the Joker because most people already know who he is. But that being said, he's definitely one of my top characters of all time. Yeah, I think it's time to move on because there's not a whole lot to say about the Joker. So yeah, let's move on. Alright, sitting at number 2, we have another god. We have Fujin. Though this one's a legit god, whereas earlier we had a demigod. So Fujin is the god of the wind. I don't remember if he actually has a realm that he protects, like Raiden has Earth Realm and whatnot. But that being said, he's been one of my favorite characters since before Armageddon. So I've liked him from pretty early on in the development of Mortal Kombat in general. But I don't really know a whole lot of his lore, which is unfortunate. I definitely want to learn more of his lore. I feel like he could be a very interesting character. But that being said, I think it's time to move on. Alright, sitting at my number 1 spot, we have my girl Shiva. So Shiva and Goro and Kintaro have been some of my main characters for a long time. Even if they aren't in the same game, I go to the other one for a main. Like Shiva was the only one for MK2011, and then Goro was the only one for MKX, and then Shiva again is alone in MK11. Unfortunately, Kintaro has been dead for quite some time. So they killed off Kintaro in both timelines, in the original and in the current. And Shiva is originally dead in the original timeline, but is current queen of the Shokan, which are a race of human dragons, half human, half dragon. But based on lore and whatnot, we actually know that Shiva and Goro are of a higher class than Kintaro. Kintaro is known as the Tigrar clan, whereas the other two are the Draco clan. And the Draco clans, we have discovered due to MK2011, the Draco clan is actually above the Tigrar clan in the pecking order. However, that doesn't mean I don't like Kintaro as much. Kintaro is... I just don't like his look as much as Shiva or Goro. He looks kind of funny. But that being said, I think that's about it for this video. If you like this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, go follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/LordWeebius. I'd love to see you there. But yeah, that's about it. So I'll see y'all later.